Welcome to this crochet cow tutorial. Today I'll be showing you how to crochet this strawberry cow. Let's get straight into it. So the materials that you will need are a 5mm crochet hook, a yarn needle, scissors, 12mm safety eyes. You will need Premier Parfait chunky yarn or a similar weight 6 yarn. So the colors that you will need are white, your secondary color. I'm using pink as my secondary color as well. I want my cow to be a strawberry cow. And then finally toffee for the horns. And then finally you will need some stuffing. So we're going to begin by grabbing our pink yarn, but we'll also want our white yarn put to the side as we'll be color changing to it in a moment. And we're going to begin by crocheting the legs. So grab your crochet hook and we're going to start off by making a magic ring. I like to use the 2-chain method to make the magic ring, so that's what I'll be showing you how to do. So we're going to begin by making a slip knot. And then we will just chain 1 and then 2. And then the first chain will act as our magic ring. So for round 1, we're going to do 6 single crochets into the magic ring using our pink yarn. Now for round 2, we're going to do 6 increases. So an increase is doing 2 single crochets into 1 stitch, and we're going to do that 6 times in total, and that'll take us up to 12 stitches. Now we are just going to single crochet for 1 round. So we're going to single crochet for 12 stitches. And then at the end of this round, we are going to color change to white, which I'll show you how to do once we get round there. So once you're about to do your final stitch, we are going to start off by doing the first part of a single crochet. So we're going to put our hook into the stitch and then pull through. So now you have 2 loops on your hook. Now what you're going to do is you're going to grab your white yarn and we're going to finish off this single crochet with our white yarn. So we can wrap the white yarn around our hook and we'll pull through those 2 loops with our white yarn. Then we will tie the pink and white yarn together. And we can cut off the pink yarn. And now we can continue on with our white yarn. So for the final round of this leg, we will just be single crocheting around with our white yarn. So once you have completed that round, we are now going to cut off the white yarn and finish off on this leg. So we'll just leave a little bit of a tail, not too much. And then we can finish off by pulling through with the hook. So now what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and make another leg identical to this one. But on the second leg, we are not going to finish off like we just did. We are going to leave our hook in so we can continue crocheting the body. Okay, so now that you've got both of your legs and your hook is still attached to one, you're going to want to put a stitch marker in the last stitch of your second leg. So I've just used scrap yarn for my stitch marker. So now we are going to crochet the 2 legs together so that we can start working on the body. So what we are going to do is we're going to chain 2 from where we are now. So 1 and 2. Then we're going to grab our second leg. And you can see where our last stitch of the last round is with the white and the first stitch of the last round with the white. We're going to put our hook into the first stitch of the last round and we're going to single crochet into that stitch. Now we are going to single crochet all the way around our first leg here that we've just single crocheted into. We'll single crochet all the way around until we get to that last stitch of the last round. So now that you've single crocheted all the way around the first leg, you can see our stitch markers still here in the second leg. We're going to want to single crochet into the 2 chains that we just did. So you'll just need to try and find a hole in each of the 2 chains. So I'm just going to poke my hook into the second chain that I made. And then I'm going to single crochet into that second chain. And now I'm going to find a hole in the chain next to it and put my hook inside of it. And then you just single crochet into that first chain. Now we are going to go into a stitch from the second leg. So you can see the stitch markers here in this stitch. We're going to go into the stitch after that. So we'll put our hook inside this stitch here and single crochet. And now we're going to single crochet all the way around our second leg until we get back to the stitch marker. So once you've completed that round, we're going to move on to round 6. So round 6 will involve a few color changes as we're going to begin the patch on the body for the cow. So we will get our pink yarn ready, but first of all, we are just going to single crochet twice into the other side of the 2 chains. So we'll just go ahead and single crochet into the other side of each chain. So 1 and 2. Now we're going to do 2 more single crochets, and on that second single crochet we are going to switch over to pink. So 1, and then we'll start our single crochet on the 4th one, and then we'll grab our pink yarn and we are just going to tie the white and pink yarn together, but we will leave the white yarn on rather than cutting it off. And now we are going to do 5 single crochets with our pink yarn. And on that 5th one, we will just switch back to white, but we'll leave the pink yarn on. So switching back to white, but we will still need the pink yarn in the next round. And now we are going to do 19 single crochets with our white yarn. So we are just continuing round to the outside. Now for the next round, we are going to do 4 single crochets in white, and then in pink we'll do 2 single crochets, an increase and another 2 single crochets, and then in white we'll do 4 single crochets and an increase, and then 6 single crochet increase times by 2. And this will take us up to 32 stitches. Now for the following round, we are going to do 5 single crochets in white, then 5 single crochets in pink, and then 22 single crochets in white. After you complete the pink on this round, you can cut the pink off as we will no longer need it for the body. Once you've completed that round and cut off your pink yarn, we are going to continue on to round 12 and 13, where we will be doing single crochet for 2 rounds. So from rounds 12 to 13, we will just be single crocheting around. We are going to do 2 single crochets and a decrease times by 8, and this will take us down to 24 stitches. We are just going to single crochet all the way around. We are going to do 2 single crochets and a decrease times by 6, and this will take us down to 18 stitches. And now for the final round, we will do single crochet decrease times by 6. Now we are going to finish off. We can just leave a small yarn tail as we won't need to sew the body to anything. And we'll pull through to finish off. Now what you're going to do is you are going to stuff the body. So starting with the legs and then stuff it as much as you'd like. Once you're happy with how much you've stuffed the body, we can now move on to the head. So the first few rounds of the head are also going to include some color changes, but you're going to start with white. So we're going to begin by doing 6 single crochets into the magic ring with our white yarn. Now for round 2, we are going to do 6 increases. And at the end of this round, we are going to switch to pink. So we're grabbing our pink yarn to finish off the final stitch of that round. And for the next round, we are going to do a single crochet and an increase in pink, and then single crochet increase times by 5 in white. And that'll take us up to 18 stitches. Now for the next round, we're going to do 2 single crochets and an increase with our pink yarn, and then 2 single crochets and an increase times by 5 with our white yarn. For the following round, we are going to do 3 single crochets and an increase in pink, and then 3 single crochets and an increase times by 5 in white. And that'll take us up to 30 stitches. Now for round 6, we're going to do 4 single crochets and an increase with our pink yarn, and then 4 single crochets and an increase times by 5 with our white yarn. After this round, you can cut the pink yarn off. Now from round 7 to 9, we are going to single crochet round. So we're going to be single crocheting for 3 rounds straight. Now for the following round, we will do 4 single crochets and a decrease times by 6, and that'll take us down to 30 stitches. For the following round, we're going to do 3 single crochets and a decrease times by 6. For the next round, we are going to do 2 single crochets and a decrease times by 6, and this will take us down to 18 stitches. Now for the final round, we are going to do single crochet decrease times by 6. Now we're going to put our safety eyes in. So our safety eyes are going to go between rounds 10 and 11, approximately 8 or so stitches apart. The right eye should be below the patch on the head. So now we're just going to clip those in. And once you've done that, we are now going to finish off and leave quite a long tail for sewing. And we can just finish off by pulling through with the hook. And now we are going to stuff the head. So once we are happy with how well it is stuffed, we are going to move on to the ears. So you're going to need your pink yarn for the ears, and we're going to begin by doing 6 single crochets into the magic ring. And you want your magic ring to have quite a long tail. Then for round 2, we are going to do 6 increases. Now for the final round of the ears, we are just going to single crochet all the way around. So now we're going to leave a bit of a tail for sewing. And we'll finish off by pulling through. So what we're going to do with the tail from the magic ring is we're just going to bring it to the same point that the other tail is at. So I'll just bring it through to the other side of the ear, and then back inside the ear closer to the tail, and then to the same point that the other tail is coming out of. This will just make it easier when we're sewing the ear on. So now that you've crocheted your ear, you now need to crochet one more ear exactly like this. So go ahead and crochet another ear. Now that you've crocheted your 2 ears, we can go ahead and put those aside. Thank you for watching part 1 of this tutorial. Make sure to continue on to part 2 if you'd like to finish your cow.